Today we are going to see an English chapter from Class 10 NCRT Mijbil The Otter, written by Gavin Maxwell. Gavin Maxwell was a British naturalist and author, best known for his non-fiction writing and his work with otters. He wrote the book Ring of Bright Water about how he brought an otter back from Iraq and raised in Scotland. Actually, otter is an semi-aquatic animal found in ocean. Author had his pet dog who died because of which he became very lonely. So he decided to keep Otter as his pet. Now let's see the chapter. Okay. Early in the new year of 1956, I traveled to southern Iraq. By then, it had crossed my mind that I should like to keep an otter instead of a dog, and that Camasfarna, ringed by water a stone's throw from its door, would be an eminently suitable spot for this experiment. Now, here the speaker, the author, he is saying that he traveled to southern Iraq. When he traveled in the beginning of 1956. And when he traveled there in Iraq, he thought to keep a pet. What pet he decided to keep? Otter. I told you otter is a semi-aquatic animal. Okay, semi-aquatic animal which is found in ocean. So he decided to keep otter as his pet because he lost his dog. He was very lonely. So thought came to his mind that let me keep a pet now. And that Camasferna, ringed by water a stone's throw from its door. Camasferna is a name of a place in Scotland. Actually, this place is very beautiful. It has a very beautiful view. Okay, it is near the water, and the speaker he came from this place. Okay, so he was thinking to keep otter as his pet. When I casually mentioned this to a friend, he as casually replied that I had better get one in the Tigris marshes, for there they were as common as mosquitoes. So when he decided to keep pet as otter, the speaker he shared his thought to his friend. Okay, he shared this thought to his friend. So the friend replied that if you really want to keep pet, then you have to go to Tigris marshes. This is a place where you will get otter in numbers. You can select the best otter from here because their otter are like mosquitoes. Mosquitoes means in many number. You will find otter in many number. Where in Tigris marshes. Tigris is the name of river, and marshes is a place where we see mud and water both. Okay, okay, and were often tamed by the Arabs. Tamed means domesticated. Arab people they usually keep otter as their pet. We were going to Basra to the consulate general to collect and answer our mail from Europe. At the consulate general, we found that my friend's mail had arrived, but that mine had not. So they had to go to Basra. Basra is the name of a city in Iraq. Okay, because this author, the speaker, he was in Iraq. He was in city of Basra, and he was having some work. What work he was having? He had to collect mail. Okay, a mail he had to collect. So he went to Basra. But when he reached there, he found that his friend has received the mail, but author he did not received, or he did not get his mail yet. I cabled to England. Cabled means to send a message by telegraph. I cabled to England, and when 3 days later nothing had happened, I tried to telephone. The call had to be booked 24 hours in advance. So when he did not find his mail, what did the speaker thought? Let me cable to England means let me send a message to the office so that I can get my mail as soon as possible. But 3 days later, nothing had happened. Then he tried to call. The call had to be booked 24 hours in advance. We can easily call nowadays, but in those days it was not easy to call. Okay, they had to take appointment before calling. 24 hours, 24 hours they had to wait, okay, in advance. Then they would get a chance to call. So he had to wait for 24 hours. Then he got a chance to call. On the first day the line was out of order, so on first day it was not possible for him to call or to connect. Okay, on second day the exchange was closed for a religious holiday. Second day again, there was a holiday. On third day there was another breakdown, so continuously for 3 days uh, he did not connect with the call. My friend left and I arranged to meet him in a week's time. So now his friend, he already got the mail, so he thought to leave that place, leave that Basra and go. But the speaker, he had to wait because he didn't receive his mail. They actually decided to meet in a week time. Okay, once in a week they decided to meet. 5 days later, my mail arrived. Now, after 5 days, the speaker, he got his mail. I carried it to my bedroom to read, and there, squatting on the floor, were two Arabs. Beside them lay a sack that squirmed from time to time. Now, when the speaker, he received his mail, he went to his place where he was staying. He went there to read what is written in the mail. So what did he see? He saw two Arabs were sitting on the floor. Squatting means sitting. They were sitting on the floor, and beside them there was a gunny bag. Sack means gunny bag. There was a gunny bag that squirmed, means that moved from time to time, means that moved here and there. It was looking as if something is there inside which is moving the bag. They handed me a note from my friend. Here is your otter. Now the two Arabs, they had brought this gunny bag, and they also had a piece of paper in their hand. They hand it over to the speaker. What was written in that? Here is your otter. Actually, that was a present, or that was a gift from speaker's friend. He has gifted the speaker otter. Okay, he has gifted otter to the speaker. With the opening of that sack began a phase of my life that has not yet ended, and may, for all I know, not end before I do. So, as soon as the gunny bag, he opened that gunny bag, what he saw the otter, an animal, a new animal he saw, and he was very much interested to see that. And he thought that I cannot change this phase of my life, that what I'm feeling now, I cannot change that. Even if I wish to change it, I cannot change. So that was a turning point in his life. It is in effect a thraldom to otters, an otter fixation that I have since found to be shared by most other people who have ever owned one. He was so happy to see that animal, that otter. Okay, he was so happy to see that otter coming out of the gunny bag, and he felt a sense of emotion. Okay, a sense of emotion he got, a sense of attachment he got by looking at that animal, that otter. And he also felt that the same feeling the other owners also have for otter, for their pets. Then the creature that emerged from his sack onto the spacious tiled floor of the consulate bedroom resembled most of all a very small, medievally conceived dragon. So, when that otter came out of the bag, when that animal came out of the bag on the floor of the room, it was looking like a dragon. Okay, it was looking like a newly born dragon, and it was very small. From the head to the tip of the tail, he was coated with symmetrical pointed scales of mud armor, between whose tips was visible a soft velvet fur like that of a chocolate brown mole. So, how that animal was looking? That animal was covered with a thick layer of mud. Okay, it was it was coated with mud because that animal usually stay in water and mud near the seaside or ocean side. So it was covered with mud, and it was looking like a chocolatey color. Okay, it was looking like chocolatey color. He shook himself, and I half expected a cloud of dust, but in fact it was not for another month that I managed to remove the last of the mud and see the otter as it were in his true colors. Now, when that animal, it was shaking uh, himself, the speaker thought that now the floor will become dirty because of the mud in the body of otter. So he thought all the mud will be spread here and there, but nothing happened like that. It took 1 month for the otter to get cleaned. Means the mud was so much coated on his body that it took 1 month to remove that mud from his body. Mijbil, as I called the otter. So what name he kept for the otter? Mijbil. Mijbil is the name of otter, the pet. Okay, was in fact of a race previously unknown to science. Now, this animal was unknown to science. Nobody recognized this animal. It was totally new and was at length christened by zoologist Lutragale Perspicillata maxwelli, or Maxwell's otter. So, what this animal was renamed by the zoologist? They were renamed as Lutrogale Perspicillata maxwelli and Maxwell's otter. So, these two names were given to otter. By whom? By zoologist. For the first 20 hours, for the first 24 hours, Mijbil was neither hostile nor friendly. He was simply aloof and indifferent, choosing to sleep on the floor as far from my bed as possible. Now, when the speaker got this otter, when he got this Mijbil was not friendly with the speaker, and it was not angry also. It was not friendly, and it was neither friendly nor it was hostile, and it was staying alone, means far at a distance it was staying. It did not come near to the speaker. The second night, Mijbil came on to my bed in the small hours and remained asleep in the crook of my knees until the servant brought tea in the morning. Okay, so first day Mijbil did not came near to the speaker, but on the second day, anyhow, it thought to come near to the speaker. So when it came in the small hours. Small hours means starting hours at the dawn time. It came to the speaker and slept near the knees of the speaker until the servant came with tea. Th- Okay. And during the day, he began to lose his apathy. Apathy means enthusiasm. Enthusiasm. And take a keen, much too keen interest in his surrounding. And it was not having any interest to look here and there. I made a body belt for him and took him on a lead to the bathroom. Now, what the speaker did, he made a belt for him and he took him to the bathroom, where for half an hour he went wild with joy in the water, plunging and rolling in it, shooting up and down the length of the bathtub under water and making enough slosh and splash for a hippo. So now the speaker took this Mijbil to the bathroom, and when the Mijbil saw water, it started dancing out of joy because water was favorite for him. This, I was to learn, is a characteristic of otters. Every drop of water must be, so to speak, extended and spread about the place. Okay, so what the speaker learnt here? He understood the characteristic of otter, that otter or Mijbil, they are very much interested in water. A bowl must at once be overturned, or if it will not be overturned, be sat in and splashed in until it overflows. So, if a bowl is kept near him, it will overturn it by playing. Or if that bowl is filled with water, it will sit inside the bowl and play with water. So, that is the characteristic of otter. That is Mijbil. Water must be kept on the move and made to do things. When static, it is wasted and provoking. Static means fixed. Provoking means uh, to cause anger. So, uh, what was the thinking of this otter, this Mijbil, that if water is moving here and there, that is good. But if water is kept and it is not moving, they feel angry. So they want to play in water. They want to splash water. 2 days later, Mijbil escaped from my bedroom as I entered it, and I turned to see his tail disappearing round the bend of the corridor that led to the bathroom. So, after 2 days, when Speaker came in his bedroom, he saw that Mijbil is not there. Okay, and it went into the bed, and the Mijbil, it went into the bathroom. By the time I got there, he was up on the end of the bathtub and fumbling at the chromium taps with his paws. Chromium taps means shining taps. Okay, shining taps. With his paws. Paws means hand. So when the narrator or the author he came inside the bedroom, he saw that Mijbil is playing in bathroom. He is trying to open the tap with his hand. I watched amazed. In less than a minute, he had turned the tap far enough to produce a trickle of water, and after a moment or two, achieved the full flow. So, Mijbil, he was very much fond of playing with water, so he anyhow managed to open the tap, and he was and the water started to flow from the tap. He had been lucky to turn the tap the right way. On later occasion, he would sometimes screw it up still tighter, chittering with irritation and disappointment at the tap's failure to cooperate. So this time he was lucky to open the tap, but sometimes he would turn the tap in the opposite direction, and the tap would become more tighter. Okay, it would become tight, and the Mijbil, he becomes frustrated that why the tap is not opening, why water is not coming out from the tap. Very soon, Midge would follow me without a lead and come to me when I called his name. Now, Midgebill and the speaker, both of them became friends. They were familiar with each other. Now, whenever the speaker called his name, he used to run and come to the speaker. He spent most of his time in play. Who? Mijbil. He spent hours shuffling a rubber ball. Shuffling means dragging. Okay, dragging a rubber ball around the room like a four-footed soccer player using all 4 feet to dribble the ball, and he could also throw it with a powerful flick of the neck. Okay, so he was very much interested in playing. He spent hours to move the rubber ball round the room, like how a soccer player he plays. The same way he was also playing. Who? Mijbil was also playing like a player. And finally, he was successful in throwing the ball from his neck to a great height and distance. But the real play of an otter is when he lies on his back and juggles with small objects between his paws. Okay, so these things, okay, he was playing, but what is the main characteristic of otter? What is the real play of otter, Mitchbill? It is to lie on his back and juggle with small object. Juggle means to toss the objects up in the sky, okay, with his paws. Marbles were Mitch's favorite toys for this pastime. And what was his favorite toy? Marble was his favorite toy. He would lie on his back, rolling two or more more of them up and down his wide, flat belly without ever dropping one to the floor. So, like this, he used to juggle the marbles. The days passed peacefully in the days passed peacefully at Basra, but I dreaded the prospect of transporting Midge to England and to Chemisferna. Okay, so till they were in Basra, it was a happy time. They enjoyed. Now it was time for the speaker to come back to his hometown, that is to England, along with Mijbil. So now he was fearing. Dreaded means he was fearing that how I should carry Mijbil along with me, because the British airline to London would not fly animals. Animals were not allowed to be taken in flight. So now the speaker was in a bad mood, or he was fearing how to take Mijbil to my home. So I booked a flight to Paris on other airline. So direct flight, he did not take direct flight, that is British airline. He did not take the British airline, but he took a flight to Paris, and from Paris he moved to London. The airline insisted that Midge should be packed into a box not more than 18 inches square to be carried on the floor at my feet. Now, when he took a flight to Paris, there was a condition that if you want to carry pet animal, you have to keep that animal in a 18 inches square box, and you have to keep it near your feet. I had a box made I had a box made, and an hour before we started, I put Midge into the box so that he would become accustomed to it, and left for a hurried meal. So, what the speaker did, he bought an 18 inches square box. He put Midgebill into that box so that he become used to it, and he uh, does not trouble in flight. Okay, so that he is not troubling in the flight. So for that reason, he put Mijbil in the box, and he went for a meal. When I returned, there was an appalling spectacle. Appalling spectacle means surprising or shocking. There was a surprising scene. There was complete silence from the box, but from its air holes and chinks around the lid, blood had trickled and dried. So when he came after having meal, what he saw that the box is very silent, means no noise is coming from the box, and the holes that was made in that box, blood was oozing from that. Now he was shocked. What has happened to Mijbil? I whipped off the lock and tore open the lid, and Midge, exhausted and blood spattered, whimpered and caught at my leg. So as soon as he took the box and he opened the lid, what he saw that uh, Midge is very tired. He is exhausted and he is covered in blood. Blood is coming from his body, and he came and hold or he caught the speaker's leg. He had torn the lining of the box to shreds when I removed the last of it so that there were no cutting edges left. So why the Mijbil had got hurt? Because there was sharp edges in the box. So now he removed all the sharp edges from the box, and again he kept Mijbil inside it. It was just 10 minutes until the time of the flight, and the airport was 5 miles distant. So now there was no time for the speaker to bring another box or to apply medicine on Mijbil. So what he did, he put Mijbil again into that box, and he rushed to the airport. I put the miserable Midge back into the box, holding down the lid with my hand. I sat in the back of the car with the box beside me as the driver tore through the streets of Basra like a ricocheting bullet. Now, this word is used to say that the driver he rushed the car to the airport because there was no time. So he was rushing the car. The aircraft was waiting to take off. I was rushed through to it by infuriated officials, means angry officials. They were angry that speaker is very late, so they were angry. Luckily, the seat booked for me was at extreme front. The speaker he got front seat. I covered the floor around my feet with newspaper, rang for the air hostess, and gave her a parcel of fish for Mijbil to keep in a cool place. Now, when the speaker he sat on his seat, he he what he did, he placed some newspaper near his feet to keep the box of Mijbil, and he also called air hostess and gave him parcel of fish. That was a food for Mijbil to keep in cool place so that the fish doesn't get spoiled. I took her into my confidence about the events of the last half hour. Now this speaker he said uh, everything what happened in the past half hour, how Mijbil was wounded and what he did, how he rushed to airport, everything he said to air hostess. I have retained the most profound admiration for that air hostess. She was very queen of her kind. Now he's saying that air hostess was very kind. She listened to me, she understood my words, and she was very good lady. She suggested that I might prefer to have my pet on my knee, and I could have kissed her hand in the depth of my gratitude. So when she understood the words of the speaker, she suggested the speaker to keep Mijbil on his lap. Okay, so that made speaker very happy. Okay, that the aerosters is understanding me, so he felt very happy and thought to thank her by giving kiss on her hand. But not knowing otters, I was quite unprepared for what followed. But he did not know what the Mijbil will do now. Mitch was out of the box in a flash. Now the animal, the Mitchbill, he came out of the box because he was not locked. He disappeared at high speed down the aircraft. Now he started roaming here and there. There was squawks and shrieks, means noise, and a woman stood up on her seat screaming out, "A rat, a rat." You can see in the picture here, Mijbil is here. He is roaming here and there, and a lady, she is standing. Okay, she is standing on her seat and she is shouting, "Rat has come, rat has come." I caught sight of Mit's tail disappearing beneath the legs of a portly white turban Indian. So where was Mijbil hiding? Under the chair where a man was sitting. Portly means a man who has fat belly. Okay, fat belly, and he was wearing turban, white turban. He was looking like Indian. You can see his stomach is fat, his belly is fat. He is wearing white turban. He is looking Indian. So under his chair he was sitting under his seat. Diving for it, I missed, but found my face covered in curry. So the speaker thought to catch the Mitchbill, but he missed it. "Perhaps," said the air hostess with the most charming smile, "it would be better if you resumed your seat, and I will find the animal and bring it to you." Now, the air hostess is saying to the speaker that you go and take your seat. You don't worry about Mitchbill. I will get that Mitchbill to you. I returned to my seat. I was craning my neck, means turning. Okay, I was craning my neck trying to follow the hunt when suddenly I heard from my feet a distressed chitter of recognition and welcome, and Mitch bounded on to my knee and began to nuzzle my face and my neck. So when the speaker he went and sat on his seat, he was turning his head, he was turning his neck and seeing here and there where is Mijbil. So all of a sudden Mijbil came to the speaker and he started licking his face and neck. Mitch and I remained in London for nearly a month. Now they reached their hometown, London, and uh, they completed their 1 month in London. He would play for hours with a selection of toys, ping pong balls, marbles, rubber fruit, and terrapin shells that I had bought back from his native marshes. Now it was now 1 month had completed for Mijbil. in London, and he was nicely enjoying with the speaker. And he used to play with his toys like ping pong balls, marbles, rubber fruit, and terrapin shell. And terrapin shell, the speaker bought from his native marshes, means from where he bought the Mijbil, from the same place he bought the toy for him. With the ping pong ball, he invented a game of his own which could keep him engrossed for up to half an hour at a time. So he invented his own game and he used to keep himself busy for hours. A suitcase that I had taken to Iraq had become damaged on the journey home, so that the lid, when closed, remained at a slope from one end to another. So the speaker, he had a suitcase that was damaged during the journey. Okay, so Mijbil, he took that suitcase and he invented a game out of that suitcase. How he used to play with that suitcase, let us see. He discovered that if he placed the ball on the high end, it would run down the length of the suitcase. He would dash around to the other end to ambush its arrival, hide from it, crouching, to spring up and take it by surprise, grab it, and trot off with to the high end once more. So how he used to play with that suitcase? He used to keep ball on the top of the suitcase, and the ball used to roll down the suitcase, and he used to catch it before the ball came down. He went and catched it. So like that he was playing with the suitcase and ball. Outside the house I exercised him on a lead, precisely as if he had been a dog. Okay, so whenever the speaker he took the Mijbil out of the house, what he saw, Mitch quickly developed certain compulsive habits. Compulsive habits means inborn habits. On these walks in the London streets, like the rituals of children who, on their way to and from school, must place their feet squarely on the center of each paving block, must touch every seventh upright of the iron railing, or pass to the outside of every second lamp post. So children, they have the habit when they walk on the street, whenever they see the square marks on the road, what they do, they try to stand in between and they try to jump on the next box. Then from here again they try to jump on the next. So this is the compulsive habit, means inborn nature of children. Whenever they go out in the street, they try to invent their own game. So Mitchell was also like children. He also had the habit to jump from here and there. Okay. Then, opposite to my flat was a single storied primary school, along whose frontage ran a low wall some 2 feet high. On his way home, but never on his way out, Mitch would tug me to this wall, jump onto it, and gallop the full length of its 30 yards, to the hopeless distraction both of pupils and of staff within. So whenever Mitchell used to return to home from the walk, actually there was a primary school which was a single story. It means one floor building it was, and two it was 2 feet high. Okay, this one story building was 2 feet high, and Mitchell wanted to climb this building and walk on the top. Okay, he always wanted to walk on the top of the floor, but this act was very distracting. It used to distract both students and teachers of that school. It is not, I suppose, in any way strange that the Avenger Londoner should not recognize an otter, but the variety of guesses as to what kind of animal this might be come as a surprise to me. Okay. So now whenever this boy, sorry, the speaker, he used to take Mijbil out, there were variety of guesses. Means people used to guess that what type of animal he is taking along with him. Okay. Otters belong to a comparatively small group of animals called mustelines, shared by the badger, mongoose, weasels, stoat, mink, and others. So people used to guess that otter belong to these type of animals. I faced a continuous barrage of conjectural questions. Continuous barrage means Non-stop questions. Okay, non-stop questions people used to ask him. And conjectural means guessing. They used to guess. That sprayed all the mustelines, but the author more random guesses hit on a baby seal and a squirrel. Some used to say that it is a squirrel or a baby seal. Is that a walrus, mister? And somebody even asked that, is is this a walrus? Reduced me to giggles. Giggles means laugh. Speaker used to laugh when he heard all these names of the animals. And outside a dog show, I heard a hippo. Somebody called him hippo also. So every name they called, but nobody recognized him as otter. A beaver, a bear cub, a leopard, one apparently that had changed its spots, and a brontosaur. Okay, so all the animals' name they said, but nobody said it is an otter. Mitch was anything but an otter. But the question for which I awarded the highest score came from a laborer digging a hole in the street. So one question that the speaker felt very strange, and he thinks of it again and again, is a laborer who was digging a hole in the street. He asked what he asked. I was still far from him when he let down his stool, put his hands on his hips, and began to stare. So when the speaker was walking with Otter, with Mijbil, on the opposite direction, a laborer who was digging a hole in the street, he stopped working. He kept his stool down. He put his hands on his hips and started to stare at speaker and Mitchell. As I drew nearer, means as he came closer, he saw his expression of surprise and affront, as though he would have me known that he was not one upon whom to play jokes. I came abreast of him. He spat, glared, and then growled out, "Here, mister, what is that supposed to be?" Now, this man who was digging the hole, he was very much surprised. He didn't even knew that it is an animal. He is asking that, what is this? At least other people they guessed that it is squirrel or some other animal's name they said, but this man, he didn't even know that it is an animal. He's asking what it is. So that question was very strange for the speaker, and he is remembering that question and he's giving more score to that question. Okay, so that's all. Here the chapter ends. I hope you have understood it. It's all about an animal, otter, whose name is Mijbil, and how the speaker brought it from Iraq to England, what difficulties he faced, and how the Mijbil became friend with the speaker. Everything is discussed in this chapter. I hope you found this video helpful. If you want more such explanation, do hit the like button, share and subscribe the channel.